fuck. Everything's going great. Nothing's wrong. It's all fine. All right. Facebook output working. Let's see if we can get Twitch up. Twitch should just work because it's not a disaster. All right, Twitch is up. Now, Kick. Kick is... Kick is... Come on, Kick. Come on, Kick. Kick is up. Think. Kick is up. All right. Now X. X is the one that messes everything up last time. And then we just got Blue Sky. I'm just kidding. All right, let's see if I can get X. Oh, it's still live. I mean, I'll just turn it back on then. Let's see if X just works. It says I'm live. It's working. Gotta find all the links. Oh my god. Where is the chat doc? I want my YouTube control panel. No. We're almost there. I have almost figured out how to stream again. Just give me 10 or 20 more minutes and we're going to be rocking and rolling. Oh no, did YouTube drop? No, YouTube's fine. Oh no, did YouTube drop? No, YouTube's good, right? All right, YouTube chat has popped out. YouTube says we good. Twitch, good. I gotta figure out an app that allows still better production. Well, I'm trying a new tool. I didn't like the other multi-output before, so I'm trying a new tool. Yeah, it should be logo. I mean, I can just go on screen. I'll pull back the curtain a little bit. So we can leave the DLC playlist on. I'm trying to figure out how to multi-stream to all the different platforms at the same time. And X consistently gives me issues. So I've had a little bit of a challenge figuring out X. Like, you have to, like, use this weird back end thing. And, yeah. And then if I go live, I actually didn't mean to go live. And I'm like, well, here I am now. One really interesting thing, I got my notice on X, and it's like, hey, here's your payout X. And I'm like, okay, another $4, right? Because X hasn't really been paying anything. Guys, last week, I got a paycheck from X for $50. And I think, now I jokingly said I'm going to farm the fanboys. I mean, that's probably a part of it. Here's how easy it is to farm PlayStation fanboys. All you have to do what Chaos Lounge I'm using, I think I'm using the OBS plugin, but you can DM me the one that you had. Here's how easy it is to farm PlayStation fanboys. All you have to say is that you're excited about a game that originally launched on PlayStation coming to PC. That's it. Or, what was the other thing that set them off last week? I said, there's no way PlayStation's going to have a sale. And then they did. And they were like, oh, Destin got owed. We're getting $50 off. And I'm like, okay, you guys. Like, whatever. Are you attending IGN Live? I didn't get invited to IGN Live. I'm sure if I asked, I could go. Like, I could just be like, Pears, like, basically has an open invite to anybody. Like, especially because I work there. I'm sure they'd be fine. I don't think I'm going to go to IGN Live, though, if you're asking. I am going to SGF, and I have a packed schedule for SGF. I have a very, very busy schedule with SGF. Thank you for watching on Kick. So I've decided a few things. On Kick, I'm going to broadcast to kick.com/Destin Legary. If a bunch of people could go there and sub, I can eventually get a partner. I don't know if sub is like Twitch subbing, where you get paid for those or whatever. So yeah, SGF looks packed with the list they just dropped. I don't think I'm seeing any of the big stuff, but I should probably take a look at that list and see if there's anything that I'm missing out on. Yeah, if you could at least follow me on Kick and Facebook and all the platforms that I tweeted today, that would be great. But yeah, farming fanboys is so easy on X. I was just kind of bored or something. I don't know what I was doing. I don't know what's wrong with me. And I was like, yeah, I'm just going to farm today. So what did I do? I can't remember what I said, but like I was doing stuff on purpose because I knew it would set them off. Noresta, I'm checking stability. I want to make sure stability is good first. So I'm kind of vamping a little bit, to be totally honest. Yeah, it looks like it. Okay, so it looks like it's going on X, but I actually want people on YouTube. Well, that's a bummer. Yeah, they'll just watch on X. I actually have 300. I have 400 viewers on X. What's up, everybody on X? Good to see you. Hello. That's where the monetization's coming from. I'm like, why the hell is my monetization so high this month on X? It's because there's like 400 people watching. They don't comment, but they watch. Okay. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so as I was saying, if you want to get a big payday on X, Just say that you think a PlayStation exclusive coming to PC is exciting news, or say that you are going to play the PlayStation game on PC. They just like lose it. And I'm talking about fanboys. I am not talking about real PlayStation fans. Real PlayStation fans will argue about like Forza Motorsport versus GT7 and which one's the better sim racer or whatever. And then I'll be like, all right, well, let's play them both. Like, let's go play some GT7. Let's go play some Forza Motorsport. I'll race you. I've had a dude, there was a dude I was arguing with, but yeah. So that was sort of fun. But like, here's some of the stuff that I did to farm. And oh yeah, check this out. My analytics for May on X, I was kind of surprised. They're the highest they were this year. They're the highest they were for the year. Every time I go to a different source with the VLC playlist turned on. We should probably turn that off anyway, because I'm going to be doing like news here now, and I want to VOD it out, I think. The one negative to all of this, and we're going to get to the real content here in just a second. Not trolling fanboys. I don't really see a whole lot of negative to trolling fanboys. That's just kind of fun doing your spare time. No. May is significantly higher. May is like 25% higher for the month. Oh yeah. I said that I'm really excited about Ghosts of Yotei. Like, that's all you have to do. Just be an Xbox fan and say you're excited about PlayStation games. What else? Oh, Forza Horizon 5 on PS5 Pro. I'm like, where's my PlayStation fam at? So I was doing it on purpose a little bit. And then I kind of stopped, but yeah. No, I did it for one day, and I think I got like 1 million impressions just being a jerk. Once you reach 5 hours streamed on Kick, you'll unlock subscriptions. Oh, I can't even get subscriptions yet. Well, in the meantime, if you do like watching on Kick, you can check it out on Kick. So I'm trying to do a multi-stream thing. I'm making decent revenue on X for the live streams. I didn't realize that I would find an audience there. So when I saw that, like how many concurrents are on there right now? Whoops. Yeah, anyway, it said there's like a decent, yeah, there's like 600 concurrents on X. They just watch, they don't comment, but 600 there, 200 on YouTube. Anyway, let's get to the actual news. I think the first big thing that we need to talk about, let's talk about the Xbox handheld. I can't believe Microsoft has done this to me. How could Microsoft have decided to improve their hardware? Like, do they even think about how I feel about this? No, they just think about themselves and their customers. What are they doing? I can't believe it. So Jez Corden had this really, really good exclusive, and basically it says that Xbox's first party handheld has been sidelined for now as Microsoft doubles down on Keenan and Windows 11 PC gaming optimization. Now, here's what's really interesting about the Windows optimization stuff. This might break everything. I don't know. I'm going to bring up Task Manager here really quick. And we were messing around with this last night. So let me see here. All right, so check this out. So this is my CPU usage, right? And this is what Microsoft has ahead of them. This is an issue just with Windows, period. So I was watching Alex's stream last night, and he was saying, oh, your CPU will spike if you use the search bar, right? Check this out. I'm just going to search for test. You see that spike? Every time you search for something, you get these spikes in CPU activity. So I think that's the sort of thing that they're going to be working on optimizing. And anybody who plays Xbox games via the Xbox stat or whatever, it's I don't use OneDrive. It keeps asking me to set it up. I don't want to set it up. It's very annoying. I don't like it. But anyway, Jez got this pretty good exclusive that says Xbox's first-party handheld has been sidelined for now as Microsoft doubles down on Keenan and Windows 11 PC gaming optimization. Do you remember back in the day when I said that the next Xbox is going to be more like a PC? Now, there's two questions that I have. One, are they going to continue in hardware whatsoever? It seems like the answer is yes for now. We'll see what that ends up being. But if it's not, it's not. We can get into that in a second. But assuming they do, this sets them up to basically make Windows PCs that they market as their next generation Xbox console. And on those Windows PCs that are a little bit more open than your traditional console, they're going to be able to install third-party applications like Steam. And what does that mean? What does it mean if Steam's on a computer? What game company games can you install on a Windows device? Because on my current Windows device, you know what I really like to play? PlayStation games. I like to play PlayStation games when they come to my PC, like Spider-Man, like I played Helldivers 2 on my PC. God of War Ragnarok was one of my last performance reviews at IGN. I got to talk to that team. They did a really, really good job optimizing it. It runs exceptionally well, and it looks great. And if Xbox is making a Windows box and not so much an Xbox, they are opening a new avenue for people to play PlayStation games on an Xbox device. Now, I've been saying this for about a year now. I think that PlayStation is not going to block it because it's basically going to be a Windows device. The same way that they don't block the Lenovo Legion Go or any of those other devices that are basically running Windows in the back end. Because they can't, especially if it's a Windows OS. So that's what I think this is all about. I think they want to get their ducks in a row for the handheld, and then further down the line, they will release their next console, which is really just going to be a PC. So that's my tinfoil hat theory. I have probably said it too many times on this stream now to the point that people are annoyed by it, but I think that's what they're doing. I think that's what they're going to do, and I think people should buckle up and get used to that. American Ninja, thank you for the Kick follow. I got one watcher over on Kick. Thank you for watching on Kick, Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and of course, YouTube. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. So here's what Jez basically said about this handheld. Just to emphasize here, it's not Xbox's Asus device, Keenan, that is being pushed back. It's Microsoft's own internal Xbox handheld that has been shelved for now. If you'll remember during the Phil Spencer interview, I believe we talked about handhelds and how he's looking at various devices. I know he did that when we were at IGN. And I think that longer term, this is going to benefit them. I think with the Switch 2 coming out, now is not going to be a good window to launch. Maybe this holiday season. We don't know what they're bringing to Summer Games Fest. But I do think that the idea of an Xbox handheld is interesting. It's good. I think it would have been really smart for them to launch it alongside when the PlayStation Pro was announced, because it would have given them that, oh, well, we have a handheld for $300 versus your $700 thing. And this is another way that they can set themselves up for success by figuring out the OS, by addressing the issues they have, because I think the future of console gaming is going to look a lot different in the future. Now, a lot of people have talked about how the console business is doing great. I think maybe one company is doing well in the console business. Honestly, it's PlayStation. I think PlayStation is the closest to outselling their predecessor. They're still behind by about 2 million units. And we'll see what the next quarterly report brings. But I would be shocked if the next quarterly report sees PlayStation trounce the PlayStation 4 in terms of sales. At that time period, we'll bring up my chart here. So here's where we're at currently. PS5, we're at 77.7 sold. Million units sold, right? Which is comparable. Wait, was that my guess? By the end of the year, by the end of 2025, they will have to have sold 94.4 million consoles to match where the PlayStation 4 was. Now, currently, they're about 2 million behind where the PlayStation 4 was. They're at 77.7 right now, and they would need to sell what? 17 million more units? Let's do the math here quick. 94.4 minus 77.7. They need to sell 16.7 million consoles this fiscal year. The PlayStation 4, I'm going to get there. The PlayStation 4 sold 17.7 in the comparable year. Someone asked, what about Nintendo? Isn't the Switch on track to surpass the PS2 as highest selling console of all time? Yes, it is. Now, Nintendo's case is quite interesting in terms of their strategy. Nintendo had the most successful console generation with the Wii and the DS. They sold a combined 255 million units in that time frame. Now, the Wii came out. It was a big success. 2 years later, the DS came out, and then the DS was a big success. And combined, those consoles would go on to sell something like, I think it was 255 million was what my tweet was. Then, the generation that was a disaster for Nintendo came, which was the Wii U generation. The Wii U, I don't even think the Wii U sold 10 million units. Yeah, what did the Wii U sell? The Wii U sold very poorly. It was like a colossal failure. But the 3DS sold 90 million units. Chaos Lawn says 9 million. Yeah, that's terrible. Those are terrible figures. So when the next generation came along, and this is like a 10-year period of time, Nintendo very intelligently said, we are going to combine our console and our handheld into one device and release the Nintendo Switch. Now, the Nintendo Switch is going to go on to probably be the most popular singular device ever sold of all time. But Nintendo no longer has two separate markets. They don't have a handheld market and a console market. They have one market, and that market looks like it's going to cap out around 155 million units sold. Maybe lifetime it goes to 160 million, right? But if you go back in time and you think about it, for the Wii and the DS era, that was 100 million more units sold total between the two of them. So I find that interesting. I think Nintendo made the right call. But when people say, well, what about Nintendo? I'm like, I feel like you're proving my point when you bring up Nintendo. Chat, any holes in my logic there? Because when I think about it, I think, okay, we have this era that was a smashing success for Nintendo. They had a handheld unit and they had the Wii unit, and combined those two devices with 2 years between them. So the Wii launches, then the DS launches 2 years later. Sold 255 million units. And those are selling concurrently at the same time, right? That's crazy. Those are crazy figures. And then they have one of their worst console generations, but one of their best handheld generations with the 3DS and the Wii U, which was a disaster. And then they say, we're going to lump those together. Technology is caught up. We don't need to do 2 different SKUs. We can just do one. Gias for $5 says, by that logic, shouldn't you say Sony is doing worse too because they no longer sell Vita or the PSP? Well, PlayStation does sell the, what's it called? The Portal, the PlayStation Portal. So they're almost going backwards. PlayStation is saying, we're going to have the PlayStation 5 and a handheld device, which is what Nintendo used to do. And they've been increasing the functionality of that device, which is pretty interesting in my opinion. It's weird that they're going back to what Nintendo was doing, but it's working for them. It's working for them. So anyway, when you bring up Nintendo as a smashing success, I'm like, yeah, but they had to sacrifice an entire market to combine their handheld market and their console market into one to see that smashing success. So obviously the Nintendo Switch is a huge success for Nintendo. And it was the right move. But that's why they're kind of in their own world. They're serving 2 demographics, a handheld demographic and a console demographic. Because as soon as you dock your Switch, the Switch is really a handheld. It's the Steam Deck. It's the same business model. And people are like, well, what about Nintendo? I'm like, yeah, Nintendo crashed out of the console market. Really? Nintendo's got a very interesting hybrid strategy where they have a portable device. And if you have kids, are your kids carrying that around everywhere, or do they mostly play docked mode? I'm sure they play docked mode sometimes, but most of the time I see people with their Switch on the go or their Lenovo Legion Go. I see a lot of people on the go using gaming devices. So I find that kind of interesting. And then PlayStation is going backwards with the Portal. And now Xbox is trying to figure out their strategy. So anyway, I'm way off on a tangent. But I do not think the console market is growing. The console market has kind of peaked. I think what's the total units? Somebody said 250, 300 million units total across all companies. And that's kind of your market. I do think that PlayStation is doing very well in the console market, make no mistake. They're also making more money than ever before. At a time when they need to increase the price of their devices and they need to find more ways to monetize us as players. I find that unfortunate. I think it's very unfortunate that Xbox is doing the same thing. I don't like that Xbox is doing it either. The fact that Xbox rose their console price, they're done. There already were fewer reasons to get an Xbox when they're putting all their games on PlayStation for a console purist. And now they've raised the price. If I was talking to a friend and they were like, I'm interested in getting into gaming, what should I get? I would probably say, well, PC if you can afford it. And then if you want to play Xbox stuff, just play it off the cloud. You can literally do it for free or $20 a month. and you can just cloud play everything if you want it day one, or get a PlayStation because everything's going to release on PlayStation anyway someday. Continuing on about the handheld strategy for Microsoft, Jez Corden writes, at the moment, it seems there are 3 prototype devices in development for Microsoft's Gen 10 effort, with the handheld being parked for now. So 3 prototype devices. He doesn't say they're all handhelds. Indeed, Microsoft still wants to build its own Xbox handheld in the future, but Microsoft has decided to prioritize its teams to improve Windows 11 gaming performance, thank goodness, specifically for devices like the Asus partner device Project Keenan. I wonder if they were testing on Keenan and they're basically saying, look, this does not run as well as every other competitor on the market. You've got to get this in order. Especially if you're going to launch your own device. Like it's just not going to work long term if they're doing it that way. Yeah, it's just not going to work for them. Our sources have indicated to us that Microsoft is still deeply investing in developing its own Xbox gaming handheld technology in the future, but it was announced internally today that the priorities are moving more deeply towards third-party OEM handhelds in the interim. I don't think we see a next generation of consoles for a long time. I'm talking PS6. I think Switch 2 is going to be the coolest thing we get for a while. Whatever the Xbox handheld is, now I'm thinking, they were thinking next year originally. I think it just got pushed to 2028. I think the PS6 probably got pushed to 2028, also 2029. Partially because of what's happening in the world, this whole tariff situation, the lawsuit with the tariffs, the price of components, the fact that everybody had to raise their console prices. Hiroki Totoki talking about everything that they've had to do with manufacturing, potentially even considering opening a plant in the United States. Everybody kind of just locked down and just said, freeze everything, fire people, shut XYZ down. We don't have the money right now. And I think you're going to see that in a lot of businesses. And the savvy businesses are going to make smart investments to come out the other side of this thing and see some profits where they can. I think it's smart for Xbox to hunker down right now and wait on the handheld. It's going to cost more to manufacture right now. Like, just put everything on pause. When the world figures itself out in a year, then you can ramp it back up and get back to it. You can do prototyping. You can do OS optimizations for now, and the competition is going to be doing the same thing, of course, but I think it's a really bad year to launch a new device unless you're Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo could do whatever. I think if the PlayStation 6 launched this year, I think it would also struggle. Like, they would have probably a very high price point. It would probably be higher than the PS5 Pro. I don't even know what they would do. And also, Woodpit in chat brings up a really good point. We're at the point of diminishing returns. Like, at what point is it worth investing another $100 so you're paying $8, $9, $10, $1,000 on a device that's just going to be outdated? So, yeah, I don't know. The gamer population is aging. They're going to prefer consoles, the simplicity of a controller, and the comfort of a couch and a widescreen TV, says Michael. Michael, there's been studies released publicly that say the younger generation don't give a shit about the consoles. They want to play Roblox, Fortnite, and platform type games. Minecraft. They do not care about individual platforms. Villaroni says, They are all in a holding pattern. It's all wait and see. They can't make long-term plans with so much short-term disruption, especially if it involves manufacturing. Even Nintendo said, we got to stop everything. I don't know what we're going to do. They delayed everything a month. God Emperor says, my son is a prime example. I disagree. The older gen wants better specs these days, and they have the disposable income to get it. Mandrews, but the problem is the older generation, they're going to have kids. They're not going to have as much time to game. Like, a lot of gamers have aged out historically, or they just have more life responsibilities going on. The older you get, I know from personal experience, the older you get, the more shit you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of it's really, really great stuff. Like, why is Destin streaming at 3 p.m. today? Because I took my kids to the beach and we had a great time with the family. So, like, I'm doing stuff like that with most of my free time. So, and like, once you have kids, your priorities get skewed towards that. So I'm 40, how old am I? 43 or 46 or something. I don't even remember. Once you get older, you stop forgetting, but like, I'm in my 40s and I have like other stuff. Yeah, that's where you're sunburned. I got so we went last week and my son had so much fun. He's like, I want to go again, Dad. So we went again and it was wonderful. It was a really great time. And I think people in that disposable income bracket that somebody in chat was just talking about, that's exactly what happens. They just end up with, or maybe you have a really demanding job that has you managing people and you got to travel all over the world, or you have kids, like you have all of these other things. You have all of these other things that you have to consider once you get to a certain point. And like, gaming is really important to me. I'm always going to do this in some capacity, but I have other responsibilities that I have to balance all of that with. And I do somebody gave me a hard time about being a day or two late on the handheld story. And I'm just like, yeah, sorry. Like, it was my anniversary. I'm not going to prioritize making a YouTube video about Jez's story versus celebrating being married for 6 years. You know, it's like stuff like that. Yeah, I have karate practice. No, we do want to get the kids in the karate. Anyway, continuing on. It was always a bit unclear if Microsoft's handheld was designed to be a native Windows 11 PC gaming style handheld, or maybe more of a native Xbox console style experience. But we potentially now have an answer. And the answer is basically that it's going to be a Windows 11 gaming PC. I'm 50. Why the hell do you think I want the Xbox handheld? So I can play games on the go. Exactly. Like, most people do not want barriers to their gaming. That's why I think, honestly, we're seeing this renewed interest in PC gaming. It's because, so PlayStation's putting all their games on PC, Xbox games are on PC via Game Pass, cheaper, day and date, and I can get something like the Steam Deck for $300. And most the thing that really irked me about people complaining about the Xbox Series S was the fact that all those games run great on the Steam Deck, but you're telling me the Series S, I just can't figure it out. It's so hard to optimize. It's like, okay, whatever. So Xbox has a 30 million user install base in their console market, and we think that's split 50-50 between Series S and X. So you're talking about, let's say, 17 million on the S and 13 million on the X. That's not worth your time, but optimizing for a handheld with a 2 million user install base is worth your time? Come on. Really? And I know there's a slight RAM discrepancy with the Series S and the Steam Deck, and that does make it harder to optimize for, so I'm sympathetic to that. But let's come on. Come on now. I think people tend to forget it's is how both companies are focusing on emerging markets, and those have been PC/mobile focus, not consoles. Exactly. Because everybody has a PC. If you're in college, you have a PC or a tablet, and tablet might as well be mobile because you can stream with the tablet. You can do all that stuff that you like to do with the tablet on the tablet, or all the stuff that you like to do with the phone. Have tariffs raised the prices for PC parts yet? They have caused issues with manufacturing because a lot of those components are manufactured in China, and because the China back and forth was going crazy for so long, people didn't know what to do. And the reason the Trump administration was tariffing the Penguin Island and stuff like that, the story that I've heard is that strategy was about not allowing a tricky way to circumvent the tariffs, basically, by like, okay, well, we'll just ship through the Penguin Island and then ship it up from there. But I don't know. It sounds like the courts have squashed the whole thing. I'm a little behind on whatever's going on with the tariffs because everything kind of got paused. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that right now. I don't follow it that closely. Like I said, I've had other stuff going on for the last week. I'm literally installing it now. What are you installing now, Chaos Lounge? Phil Roney says, I am following it daily. Yeah, the tariff situation has a big impact on gaming, so it is worth following. So all that's going on. So basically, the handheld is on hold. I understand the strategy of putting the handheld on hold, to be totally honest. Because I'm going to... Oh, man, that made me all framey. Really? I don't know why that made me start chugging, but... Well, if I look framey, I'm going to be framey for a little bit, everybody. Mike Ibarra did not like the console strategy. He basically said the following. If true, 100% the correct path, in my opinion. So many devices out there, and with SteamOS on third-party devices now, none of this made any sense to me other than a reaction to fill some void in a hardware strategy, aka PR play. Given the new Xbox focus, leaving this debate outside of this particular thread, hardware makes no sense. Focus on great games and building communities within them. Hashtag Xbox. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I actually agree with Mike Ibarra. I do not often agree with Mike Ibarra, but I think he's dead on with this take. I think right now, a focus on hardware is not the strategy for Microsoft. Given everything else going on, it's not the play. I think they need to focus on great games. They've been doing great in 2025. Like, say what you will. I know Doom was a little contentious. I really like Doom. Some other people didn't. But I think it's been working quite well for them. And I think they're making the right call currently. And that's sort of that. I don't have any final thoughts or anything on the conversation about consoles, but I do think that it was the right call on their part. Somebody said, my kids don't play the consoles anymore. I just canceled Game Pass Ultimate and downgraded to PC Game Pass. My kids are PC gamers. That's from Eki over on Twitch. Yeah. So I think I have seen a similar sort of situation with a lot of the younger demographic. They just choose to play wherever they have the device. Oh no. Real world stuff happened. All right. Sorry, I was on X. I saw a real world thing. Hopefully, did I miss a super chat or are we okay? My kids play whatever I forget to ground them from. Hi, everybody. Good to see you, Charles. Yeah, so I think that most of the younger demographic. Yeah, I'm good. No, there was a. Everybody knows I try not to be political on the stream, but I was on Twitter and there was something about a situation in Boulder, so I was like, oh no, what happened? But it's okay. Everything's all right. Well, I mean, yeah. Let's talk about video games. There was another story. It is currently behind a paywall, but the other story was that EA has canceled a new Black Panther video game. So it would appear that the Black Panther video game is done. Now, this story was originally reported by Bloomberg, and it is behind a paywall, as you can see. Insider Gaming also picked it up, and they had a few additional scoops, so we're going to skip over there and talk about what they reported. Black Panther game canceled by EA. Cliffhanger Studios shut down. EA has canceled the Black Panther game that was in development and shut down its developer, Cliffhanger Studios. That is brutal. So not only is the Black Panther game not coming, but okay, if you can hear the kids freaking out, it's because they have candy in the freezer and mom's doesn't want them to have too much candy. So yeah, I was trying to do this as a VOD, but I can hear Nate like losing it right now. It's because they've just been eating too much candy lately. So we're trying to like get them to tone it down with the candy a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. Like real world stuff, right? Real life stuff, real life Destin stuff. That's a trick to the dentist waiting to happen. Yeah, basically. This is not the 1945 game with Captain America. EA has canceled the Black Panther game that was in development at EA. This is different than the Unreal Black Panther Captain America game. I believe it's 1945. Now, I believe Bloomberg broke it, but Insider Gaming is referencing IGN's report by Rebecca Valentine, which reads as follows. These decisions are hard, Mealy wrote in a memo per IGN. They affect people we've worked with, learned from, and shared real moments with. We're doing everything we can to support them, including finding new opportunities within EA where we've had success helping people land in new roles. Mealy also said that the decision was made to sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. IGN adds that EA has declined to reveal how many people were being let go as a result of the studio closure and game cancellation. Valentine says that the layoffs are less than the 300 cuts from April, but couldn't confirm how much less. It was also said that staff on both its mobile and central teams were being let go. EA is attempting to place affected employees somewhere in the company, but wouldn't say how many it can move. So I just feel like Marvel games are kind of cursed. I feel like every time I hear about a Marvel game, it's some sort of issue. The camera started going crazy when I did this. Whoa, no way. That fixed it? That's great. Did you see that? It fixed it. All I did was this. Okay. My camera does not like having... The camera likes this one better, I guess. Okay. I've never experienced that issue before. Insider Gaming reports EA's Black Panther game was first confirmed back in 2023. That said, details on the game had always been kept under wraps, with no official gameplay ever being shown. All that had been really known was that it was going to be a third-person single-player game. Black Panther was part of a 3-game deal between EA and Marvel that included the in-game development, the in-development Iron Man game, along with an unannounced third title. So Iron Man's still good, right? And in addition to all of this, Bill Roney in chat brings up a good point. We have the Blade game, which is a Marvel property being developed by Microsoft. Now, we have not heard much from Arcane about that Blade property since it was revealed, beyond some artwork. But yeah, there have been a lot of layoffs in the video game industry since the start of 2025. Insider Gaming says 2,300 known jobs have been lost due to layoffs, with EA holding its third round of layoffs this year. The number is expected to creep past 2,500 in the near future. Yeah, Microsoft had a big layoff spree. EA has had several layoff sprees. We know Ubisoft shut the San Francisco office, which is notable. And honestly, I was interested in this game. This is the Game Informer report. I was interested in this game, but not that much. I think you can make a really cool Black Panther game, of course. But yeah, I don't know. Chat, if you could only bet on Black Panther or Iron Man, which one would you bet on? Because EA still has Iron Man in development and another Marvel thing, as far as I can tell. I'll be honest with everyone. That is a tough call. Chat, do you think Iron Man or Black Panther is the better call for a video game? I'm torn. They're both cool heroes. And Black Panther has the whole, Chadwick thing, because he passed away and he was such an amazing actor in that role. I don't know. I'm going to do a poll. But think about it as a video game. Like, what's the better video game? I want to know what people think. I'm doing this over on YouTube, youtube.com/@DestinL if you want to vote. Also hit that subscribe button, hit that bell while you're over there to know when my content goes live. And I want to know the following. Which game do you think sounds better? A Black Panther video game or an Iron Man video game? Or which one would you bet on? I guess would be a better way to phrase it. I'm of two minds. I think both could work. There have been Iron Man games. They ripped the Iron Man content to do the Iron Man GTA mod. Iron Man 100%. I played Anthem. Flying around in the game was good. Oh, that's a good call. Out of everything you can say about Anthem, you can't say they got the flying wrong. They really nailed that flying feeling in Anthem, I think. I personally wouldn't have had like the jets need cooldown all the time, but I think that kind of made you go onto the ground and interact with enemies. I like that a lot. But when I think Black Panther, what I'm really thinking is a Wolverine video game. X-Men Origins Wolverine, just take Wolverine out of that and put in Black Panther, and basically you got the same sort of stealth action fighting style game. So like Black Panther for me, it's all about like on the ground combat, combos, things like that. Iron Man, maybe you have a little bit about that. You have a lot of story elements you could interact with Iron Man, like his alcoholism and just who he is as a person. And then I saw people posting footage of the Avengers game, which did have Black Panther as a downloadable character, and Iron Man was my main in the Avengers video game. But the problem was that game got really old really fast. Like everything felt a little gummy. I don't know how else to phrase it. But yeah, everything felt a little bit gummy in that game. And then the other report that they had was Black Panther wasn't canceled because it was canceled because it wasn't far enough along in development. It wasn't because of like the game being a disaster or anything like that. It just wasn't far enough along. So out of all the games that they could cancel, they basically said, okay, we're going to have to cancel that one. Chat thinks we got 62 votes. I know it's not huge. 62 votes in chat. They think that the Iron Man game is the better bet. Here's what we have. Earlier this week, it was revealed that EA had canceled the in-development Black Panther game and shut down its developer Cliffhanger Studios. Thanks to a new report from Jason Schreier, there is some more information regarding why the game was canceled. It was viewed as a shock to employees of the studio. Cliffhanger reportedly had been actively hiring new employees with the Black Panther game recently, hitting a new internal milestone. However, despite hitting the milestone, there was frustration within EA. According to Schreier's sources close to the game's development, EA executives were frustrated that the game had not yet left the pre-production phase. Pre-production? After nearly 4 years in development. You were in pre-production for 4 years? As far as why it was taking so long for the game's development, which began in 2021 but was announced in 2023, the studio had just started to increase its staff count. The report says that many of the workers at Cliffhanger have been hired within the last year. Some, Schreier says, were only with the developer for as little as months and weeks. Insider Gaming has made multiple attempts to reach out to the studio for comment on how many employees were being moved to other studios, but the exact number being let go. So, yeah, if you're in, it seems like they took too long to hire people, so they couldn't get out of early development, and then Despite Black Panther being canceled, EA has gone on the record to say that there will be 3 Marvel games released, including Motive's Iron Man. So Motive's still making an Iron Man. Our partnership with Marvel remains strong and our multi-title long-term collaboration continues. EA's statement on the matter read, how come EA can lock in a Marvel license, but Xbox locks in Blade? Out of all the IP available to you, Xbox locks in Blade and nothing else? You're telling me they could have had Iron Man, Black Panther, and whatever the other one is we don't know about? What are you going to tell me next? That they could have had a Spider-Man game but passed on that too? Oh, wait. That was a joke, I know. And then Insider Gaming broke this up into several stories. EA's 3-game deal with Marvel remains strong, and they got this cool image of Iron Man here. Somebody in chat says that Blade sounds cool. I think the Blade game sounds cool. I don't think the concept art has blown me away or garnered a ton of interest. I like the idea of a Blade game, though. But it is a little frustrating to hear that certain things haven't been happening behind the scenes. Remedy Doctor Strange game would go hard. Oh, that's a really good call. I love that. Yeah, so like how come EA got to lock in all these IP? And is the Captain America Black Panther game, Marvel 1945, is that an EA title? Let me look it up. 1945. Rise of the Hydra. It's from Skydance. No, so that's like totally a different company. Who's the... Yeah, so it's Play Ion, and it's from Skydance New Media. I'll say this about the Marvel 1945 stuff. I'm worried that Amy Hennig just doesn't get it off. For some reason, something's going to happen and it doesn't release. Because the last 3 things she's worked on don't see the light of day. Like, I think it's been a decade since we've seen an Amy Hennig game. Am I incorrect in that? And if you didn't know, Amy Hennig worked on the Soul Reaver franchise. She worked on Uncharted. And I believe she worked on Last of Us. Right? Let's look up her IMDb. So she worked on Blood Omen, Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver 2, and Legacy of Kain Defiance. She worked on Jack, all the Uncharted games, 1, 2, and 3, Golden Abyss, and then she went over to Battlefield Hardline as a writer. She did something with Forspoken. I didn't know that. I heard the writing in that game was not good. And then Marvel 1943 Rise of the Hydra is the one that she's currently on. Those are things that like released. So since 2015, the only game that she's contributed, and she's been doing work behind the scenes, was Forspoken. Yeah, EA screwed over Amy Hennig. I really like Amy Hennig. I think anything that she's worked on has been really, really great in terms of writing, and like the concepts that she has pitched sound really, really compelling. But she's had really bad luck with her projects for 10 years. Imagine I worked on stuff for 10 years and just nothing ever happened. Nothing ever released for 10 years. And then I get credited on Forspoken. It's like, oh my goodness. I don't think she cares. Like, but yeah, that can't be fun. Go into politics. Why would I go into politics? I'm not a big political person. I follow it and I like learning about like what's going on, but I'm not a big politics person personally. Yeah, we have 1,617. So earlier I was talking about, I'm like, why is my like monetization up on X? It's because 2,000 people watched the stream. Hi, everybody. And that's why multi-streaming is smart. You never know where you're going to end up with this surprisingly large audience. And of course, that's on top of all the wonderful folks like y'all watching on YouTube every week. Hi, Destin. Glad to tune in. How have you been? I've been great. If you are watching on X, check out youtube.com/@DestinL. And you can see my streams regularly. I try and stream every Sunday. Or you can keep watching me on X. That's fine. But if you want to support, you can do so by subscribing, by watching on YouTube. You can support on Patreon. Thank you so much to everybody who does so. I do really appreciate it. Any of those things are great. I'm also over on kick.com/@DestinLegarie. And I'm also on Facebook. Wait till you see the numbers you'll get as a thought leader on LinkedIn. Can I do a thought leader on LinkedIn stream? LinkedIn only lets you stream for like 4 hours. Okay. This one's for the PlayStation fanboys. The Order 1886 sequel would have offered bigger fights and multiplayer. The Order was a very pretty game that wasn't very good. All right, that's all I have time for today, everybody. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. Just kidding. I own the Order 1886. Sorry. I'm glad it didn't get a sequel personally. Yeah, I don't know. Destin, a buddy of mine that is a trucker and he loves games, has a PS2, Xbox, and PC in his rig. He is listening now, just too focused on not crashing and doing his job. Hello, Jake. Hey, Jake. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Drive safe. Look out. No Jake breaks. Just kidding. 1886 was a totally fine video game. It's whatever. Yeah. And they canceled the sequel due to the poor reception of the first game. Let's see if we have some gameplay that I could play here. Let's see here. I just want to try and find some clean gameplay. Oh, well, here's the full game from Scirocco. Let me just get this ad out here. It's 5 hours long. All right, so this is a random scene from the game. Okay, we're going to do a different random scene from the video game. Okay, yeah, so this was on PlayStation 4. And it was an early PlayStation 4 game. It was a lot of like walking around, you know, like the whole gotta be on my comms thing to cover up the loading screen. Nothing happened in the scene. And then there would be action sequences every once in a while. It was good. It was really pretty, but like I think it was just a pacing issue more than anything, if I'm being totally honest. Obviously, you can tell the game looks really good, but I don't know. Let's see if we can get to a combat section. Yeah, here's actual gameplay. Oh yeah, they had sort of like these weird weapons. So you know how a lot of games are Unreal Engine demos, basically? I think a lot of people felt that way at the time about the Order 1886. It was just an okay video game. Happy Sunday. Are you getting Switch 2? And what are your thoughts on Sony not releasing many games this year? Frida is funny. Okay. Thanks, Scott. Thank you for being a member for 3 months. Couple questions there. Am I getting a Switch 2? Yes. I'm going to do my best to have an unboxing video very close to whenever I get it on that day. I'm actually traveling a few days next week. Like I'm going and then I'm coming back, and then my week is packed next week. But that is a priority for me to get the Switch 2 unboxed and such. And then SGF is later next week. I think it's going to be a big news week around the ending there. Story was dope. Damn shame they won't do sequels for it. Yeah, it was okay. I don't know. Like, I don't even remember what happened in that game. But yeah, it sounds like there was a sequel in development at PlayStation, and it would have featured larger battles and multiplayer elements. It was released in 2015. It was what we just saw, basically. Speaking with Julian Scienze, the creative director of The Order 1886, discussed his plans for the game's sequel, which was in early stages of development before being canceled. He describes writing a 10-page pitch for the game, which would have included far bigger fights as well as multiplayer. Multiplayer was in development for the first game before being shelved for the sequel. It was supposed to be a trilogy. 2 sequels were planned for the franchise, The Order 1891 and The Order 1899, while the third game was never in development. He says he planned where the story of the franchise was planned to go if he had been able to develop the full trilogy. Wow. I will say this. It's nice that it would have been a trilogy. It would have been cool to see the rest of it. However, in addition to all of that, I think there's way better games that PlayStation should be focusing on. You did nothing with Infamous. You've let the Killzone franchise die. Days Gone, the first game was like a 7 or an 8, I believe. And most of that was because of technical issues, but it was liked. If you did a sequel, you could improve upon a lot of that. Warhawk, you've done nothing with the Warhawk franchise. So when I start thinking of all of the other options on the table for PlayStation to dive into, I think The Order would have been lower on the list. What other PlayStation franchises would you like to see made? I'd love to hear from people in the comments or if you're watching live on the chat. Infamous series were underrated. I think the first game especially had a lot going for it. Sly Cooper could have been really, really cool. Make another Ratchet and Clank. I don't think they've abandoned Ratchet and Clank. But yeah. Somebody asked earlier, and I forgot to answer the question, like, how do you feel about them not... Resistance, yes. Thank you. Over on X, the dude. Resistance, Fall of Man also would have been great. SOCOM, U.S. Navy SEALs. Yeah, there's so many games that PlayStation could have worked on. They just didn't. And it's really, really unfortunate. So when I think about The Order, I'm like, that would have been cool, but I think there's other stuff you could have worked on. That said, he continued on. He said that he had written the stories for the Order franchise that took place in the 20th century. The mixed critical reception to the first game contributed to the series being canceled. One of the co-founders at Ready at Dawn has previously discussed the cancellation of the sequel, and they previously worked on the PSP games Daxter, God of War Chains of Olympus, great game, God of War Ghosts of Sparta, great game, plus God of War Origins Collection for the PS3, which garnered scores on review aggregation site Metacritic ranging from 84 to 91. The studio, which also developed the Wii version of Okami and the multiplayer brawler Deformers, later shifted its focus to creating VR games, including Lone Echo and Echo Arena, before being acquired by Meta in 2020. So they ended up being purchased by Meta. I mean, good story for them. I hate to say it. I think it was the right call. I don't think they would have seen the sales to justify the expenditure to develop a sequel. But I get it at the same time, you know? Xbox fans, Insider Gaming had a little bit of a story that I think is going to interest you, and it's about some Halo news. You want some good Halo news? You have got it, because Halo will have a big announcement later this year, it's claimed. This is really, really exciting because we haven't really heard much about what is going on in the Halo universe, or like where the franchise is going, what they're going to do with Halo, what's up with them switching over to Unreal. Here's what the report says. A new rumor has surfaced that Halo Studios will make a big announcement for its Halo franchise later this year. The rumor originates from Rebs Gaming, who has had some good reporting and good videos, who has a tendency to release a slew of information surrounding the Halo franchise. According to Rebs, he spoke to someone who attending the recent Dallas Open, who allegedly spoke to a current Halo Studios developer. Allegedly, the Halo Studios developer said Halo Studios has a big announcement at the Halo World Championship in late October. That's interesting. That's very interesting. And here's what I think. I think they do have a big announcement. Every year at that championship, they announce something cool. Maybe it's a new interesting mode in Halo Infinite. Maybe it's some cool map coming back. But I think they have consistently revealed something of interest to fans at the Halo World Championship in October almost every year. What does Halo have planned? At face value, there isn't really much to go on here, and taking one secondhand source as enough evidence to run with the story is a pretty bold move on Reb's part. No, I think Reb's right. I also think that even if the report is nonsense, that is a good mental note for us all to have. There's a lot going on at Halo Studios. They have the Unreal Engine version of the game in development. There's rumors that Halo Infinite is going to go to PlayStation 5. That could be revealed. They could have a new trailer for the Unreal Engine version of the game. It could be something for Halo Infinite, but let's be honest, I hope it's not, unless it's story content. If they're like, hey, we're launching a big story beat in Halo Infinite, that would be great. There is a book coming out by the author Gray that is going to focus on the aftermath of the Halo Infinite story. And this is just stuff that I'm thinking of off the top of my head. So the idea that there could be a Halo thing in October, I think it's probably right. So regardless as to whether or not Reb made a bold move, I do think that we could see something very, very interesting in the near future for the Halo franchise. Insider Gaming continues, but that being said, it does seem about the right time for some kind of Halo announcement. I agree. Be that Halo moving on to the PlayStation or a tease of the next gen game, as Rebs rightfully points out in his video. Halo Studios' next game announcement is almost certainly going to wait for a bigger event to reach as many casual players as possible, so only time will tell on one announcement. That's a good one, Rebs. I follow Rebs, and I think he follows me on Twitter, but that is a good get, Rebs. And I think you're right. Frady says the way they have treated this series is just sad to me. I think the story of Infinite was pretty solid. The author of the book is Kelly Gray. It's Kelly Gray, right? I have. Is it Gay or Gray? I can't see. I have Renegades right back there. It's on my shelf. Might be Kelly Gay. But I thought it was, I think Kelly Gay wrote Gray Team, which is what I'm mixing up there. Anyway. So anyway, good report from Rebs. I do agree that there's a very likely chance that that is the truth. Why would we not see something like that? Get it. That's what I say. I cannot believe 1,771 of y'all watch on X. That's crazy. Thank you for watching. What do you want it to be? What do you want it to be? Frady's continues. Infinite was good, but there's so much more they could do. Absolutely agree. Another short story like ODST, a battle royale, which a fan ended up making. Another RTS. The books are great, but one game in years is crazy. I think Infinite was originally meant to be a platform like Fortnite, and it just didn't catch enough to warrant the cost that it would take to support something like that. I got my cat ears. No, I didn't. I'm just kidding. But most people got their cat ears and they're happy. So yeah. 5 story wasn't awesome, but they should have followed through. 5 story was terrible. It was awful. They misled everybody with the marketing leading up to it. And then, yeah, I want it to be MCC on Switch too. That would be kind of cool. Gios Lord Zero. I'm trying to think how to say your name. I think it's time to bring Infinite to the PlayStation 5. Or if it's not Infinite, bring Master Chief Collection. I think Master Chief Collection would be better. But I think when Halo makes, not if, Halo makes the jump to PlayStation, I think it's going to be the Halo Studios Unreal Engine version of the game. I think at that point, they'll release a trailer revealing that it will also release on PlayStation 5. And then they start marketing, utilizing their existing assets in the Halo universe coming to PlayStation 5. So I think that's how they're going to handle it. So, yeah. In addition to all of that, Assassin's Creed is up to something. An Assassin's Creed statue has been made, and the makers hint at Assassin's Creed Black Flag being remade. Interesting. Artists at Pure Arts have hinted that there's something going on with Edward as Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake rumors, continue to swirl. The tease came during a recent Pure Arts live stream where one of the hosts seemingly got confused between what has officially been said and what hasn't. Assassin's Creed fans out there, you should be aware that there is something going on with Edward Kenway. Keyway? It's Kenway, right? Said one host, where he was then interrupted by the other host asking him, wait, has that been announced? I think so. I'm pretty sure I saw rumors about it. No, I definitely saw an article about it, he continued. He later said, so there's going to be something going on with Edward, and our PVC 1/8 scale statue will reflect that accordingly, he finalized. You can watch the video below. Let's watch it. No sound. My bad.
I keep replying saying there's more coming. It's a line.
Like, yeah, I mean, how many you want us to release
stopping.
At the same time?
Would you like us to release like 14 at the same time? That would kill me.
Well, Assassin's Creed fans out there, you should be aware that there is something going on with Edward. So obviously we can't.
Has that been announced?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I saw rumors about it.
Okay.
No, I definitely saw an article about this.
Okay.
So I mean, if you're not a true Assassin's Creed fan, it's not my fault.
If you don't know what we're talking about, that's not our problem.
Yeah, that's not my problem at all. But yeah, so there's going to be something going on with Edward.
Yeah, bro, nothing's been announced about Edward. I think that guy screwed up. That guy's also jacked. Look at those arms. Like, I gotta get to the gym.
And our PVC, our 1/8 scale anima statue will reflect that accordingly. Am I saying that well?
Nothing's going on with Edward. It's all been rumors and conjecture. So if they are doing a remake or something like that, then yeah. Insider Gaming had a little bit more of a scoop back in the day, though, and they allude to it here. As reported by Insider Gaming, the Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake is codenamed Obsidian, interesting, and has been rebuilt from the ground up in the new Anvil engine. Oh my God. What if they actually figure out that we want good video games from Ubisoft again? Oh, you like Black Flag? We didn't know. And did you see the tweet the other day where they were like teasing Splinter Cell? At this point, I just basically said, is this bait? Because they're constantly teasing Splinter Cell. Yeah, look at this. Ubisoft just randomly tweets out this image from Splinter Cell. And I just say, is this bait? Because every time it's Splinter Cell, every single time Ubisoft does something with Splinter Cell, it's like, oh, he's coming to Rabbids, or you can get the goggle skin and enjoy the goggle skin from the game in what was the canceled shooter, or, oh, we're introducing the character. I don't like it. I want to know more about the Splinter Cell remake. I want an Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake. Hell, I want an Assassin's Creed 1 remake. Altair is one of my favorite protagonists in video games. I think he was very interesting and broody. I liked him as a character. I get why Ezio was also popular, but I would love to see something done with that game. So yeah, lots of stuff going on at Ubisoft. If they have to prioritize one, Ubisoft, I would ask that you please prioritize Splinter Cell. Stop teasing us. We don't want some dongle attachment. We don't want to play as like a faction from the Splinter Cell game. We want Splinter Cell. Please. I actually have to go back to talk about EA because I forgot this story. Respawn Dev says morale at an all-time low. This was also reported alongside all of the other stuff that has happened. Things aren't going well for the team at Respawn Entertainment. After 2 games were canceled with 100 people let go at the studio, many have wondered about the state of things with Respawn, including employee morale. Now, after the Black Panther game was canceled with its developer Cliffhanger Studios being shut down, that has spread to concern with EA as a whole. So much so that even current employees are making internal feelings known. In a post on Blue Sky, Patrick Wren, a senior encounter designer at Respawn, gave his quick thought on where things stand. Morale has been at an all-time low, he said. I can't say that much. And that is in a response to... So Rebecca has her story. And then Patrick says, morale has been at an all-time low. I can say that much. It's unfortunate. Out of all the studios that make games, Respawn is one of the good ones. They did those 2 great Star Wars games. Granted, the second one at launch had a plethora of technical issues that would later get addressed. I think Respawn is one of the better studios out on the market. Isn't Respawn Apex? So they have like a very successful slew of games in their repertoire. I hope they continue making great games. It's unfortunate to hear that morale has been low. But hopefully EA ends up pumping the brakes and figures things out. How many more stories do I have to go through? Got about 4 more big ones. I went with Insider Gaming as my main outlet this time. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, by the way, if you like my content. If you're watching on one of the other platforms, my main platform is YouTube, youtube.com/@DestinL. So you can watch there. Be sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I have Patreon, patreon.com/SafeStatePlus. If you want to support my work, that's how you can do so. Totally up to you. And of course, I'm on kick.com/DestinLegarie. I am on x.com/DestinLegarie. I am on youtube.com/@DestinYell, twitch.tv/Destin. All of my platforms, if I could get the handle, they would all just be Destin. But it has to be like Destin Legarie or the Destin channel just because I can't get it. I'm on your Facebook page, but don't see a stream going on there. Let me see if it failed. It says it's outputted. Let me see if it's still... I'm going to take a little bit of a breather. Yeah, it's still live. And then I can't get it. I'm on your... It's facebook.com/Destin's channel. Oh my God. And then facebook.com/Destin on Facebook is the channel that needs to grow or like be on the platform for a certain amount of time. Facebook's a disaster. I'm doing my best with whatever's going on Facebook, but yeah. 88 likes out of 222 watching. Come on, folks. Thanks, Jay. I appreciate it. All right, that's enough of a break about business stuff. We need to get into it. I want to talk about the Shuhei Yoshida story because I said that I disagree with his take on Game Pass, but somebody pointed out that there's additional context here. Let's just read the story for ourselves. Shuhei Yoshida thinks dangerous subscription models won't advance the industry. Dangerous? Few come as wise and wisdomous as Shuhei Yoshida. The former Sony employee has weighed in on how much subscription-based services are changing the gaming landscape. He's talked about how detrimental they could be to the future of gaming if they're not managed carefully. It's no secret that Xbox Game Pass has become one of Microsoft's biggest money-making areas. The service allows players to pay a monthly fee and receive a large selection of games in exchange, including day one Xbox exclusives. The approach is well liked, but Yoshida has given justification as to why it's not all rainbows and roses. Oh my goodness. Big drama. Big time. PlayStation Plus subscription model is healthier than Xbox Game Pass, says Yoshida. What? The former PlayStation executive prefers the subscription model he helped create? You don't say. That's like when I say I like IGN and stuff. It's like I worked there for 13 years. Travel Star says, is there no Instagram Destin channel? There is, but you can only do vertical. So this week we are on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, YouTube, Twitch. Yeah, so YouTube, Twitch, Kick, Facebook, and X. Those are the platforms we're on this week. I can't stream to TikTok yet. TikTok.com/the Destin channel. Because I need, or wait, what is it? TikTok.com/@the Destin channel. Sorry. There's some sort of thing you need to hit, like a metric you need to hit before you can stream to TikTok. I have an Instagram. I think it's Instagram.com/Destin Legary. See, now you got my production brain going. So you're all just going to have to deal with me for a second. Someone on X pointed out that on Game Pass, every game you can play on that service is also available to buy. The same can't be said for PlayStation Now. Yeah, I agree. I agree on that one, 100%. Did you see David Geider mentioning about EA's opinion on RPG fans on Games Radar? No, I didn't see that. Are you going to be streaming the Xbox showcase? I would much rather watch yours. Yes. So here's the thing. And no disrespect to the team of community members who are putting on the community watch along for the Xbox showcase. I was invited to be at that. And I had planned to wake up that morning, make my family breakfast, stream the Xbox showcase and react to it live, and then go to Summer Game, then drive to LA. I'm pretty far away from LA to go to Summer Games Fest. So I plan to stream the Xbox showcase and do a live watch along with y'all and react to it. And then I'm going to go to Summer Games Fest and enjoy the event. If you want, next week's going to be just absolutely nuts for me. It's just going to be insane. I'll tell you that right now. Make sure I don't have anything on the screen here. Yeah, so it is... What time is that stream? It's Sunday, right? So it starts at 10. I'm going to guess it's an hour. And then, yeah. No invite to LA. I'm hurt. Bro, you can come to... Are you in SG? Are you going to SGF, Marcus? Of course, you can come hang out. Do you think Fair Games and Marathon will be canceled? Yes. I think both will be canceled. I think Marathon will launch, but that's about it. Fair Games will absolutely be canceled. 100%. There's no way Fair Games launches. Jade Raymond's gone. That game's dead. Like, you think she left because she felt so confident about the project and they felt confident in everything that's been happening? No, Fair Games is gone. And honestly, it's the right call. Have you seen, like, about that game? It's like, oh, we use AI to generate monkey heads. It looks bad. It does not look good. Yeah, so next week's nuts. I'm traveling next week. There is the Xbox event on Sunday. I will be streaming that. So next Sunday, that's going to be my stream. And then I got to drive to LA for some SGF stuff. I am completely packed on Saturday. I have stuff on Friday. I have stuff every day next week. Next week's going to be a very busy week. I've already like flagged to my wife, hey, next week's going to be nuts. Sorry in advance. Where were we? Okay, yeah. So major tangent there. Sorry, everybody. But busy week for Destin next week coming up. Do appreciate it. Let's talk about this Shuhei Yoshida comment about Xbox Game Pass. In an interview with Game Developer, Yoshida discussed how developers who are cozy with these services have an advantage in how it will become harder for third-party studios and indies to cross that divide. He explained, if the only way for people to play games is through subscriptions, that's really dangerous, because what type of games can be created will be dictated by the owner of the subscription services. That exact same argument could be made about console platform holders. I usually agree with Yoshida. I vehemently disagree with this sentiment. He's also bringing up a hypothetical. On the one hand, he's saying, if all games were only available to play through subscriptions, that's dangerous. Because then it's up to the subscription managers, basically, to decide what gets created. But Xbox Game Pass helped make Lies of P a reality. Claire Obscura Expedition 33 exists partially because of Xbox Game Pass. And I'm sure there's other games that have seen the positive impact of Xbox Game Pass. So if anybody's doing it well, it's Microsoft, in my opinion. So that sentiment I don't agree on. But he's also like talking about a hypothetical world, not like the current one we live in. Filaroni says, also Sony has invested in many games and they have done well. I believe Stray was a game that was launched day and date and it did well. He continues, that's really, really risky because there always must be fresh, new ideas tried by small developers that create the next wave of development. But if the big companies dictate what games can be created, I don't think that will advance the industry. I mean, like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, the same argument could be made for console manufacturers. Like, if you don't get your game on Xbox or PlayStation or in Switch, like, you're not going to sell that many copies. But Steam exists, so a game like Schedule 1 can come out and have 100,000 concurrents or whatever. I think this is just such a weird take from Yoshida. I don't really understand where he's coming from. And like, PlayStation also has a service. Yoshida acknowledges that there's an inherent bias when discussing Game Pass and PlayStation Plus because of his longtime PlayStation association, but he believes PlayStation Plus is healthier because Sony isn't giving away first-party games for free immediately. What does that have to do with anything? If Microsoft wants to lose money on their first-party games, that's on Microsoft. Who cares? The trillion-dollar company can take the hit. Honestly. And I'll say this, like, let's say that's a temporary thing. Internet, get while the getting's good. Because right now, they're just giving away first-party games for the cost of a subscription. If Microsoft likes it and they want it to work, I'm not going to fight with them to pay the trillion-dollar company more money. Like, what incentivization would I have for that? Anyway. The former president says subscription models need to allow people to spend money to buy the new games. Xbox does that. And PlayStation does that for some of the games. What What? He adds, after a couple of years, there won't be many people willing to buy those games at that initial price, so they'll be added to the subscription service, and there'll be more people to try those products in time for the next game and the franchise to come out. I don't know where he's coming from. Does anybody agree with this? Anybody in chat? Does anybody in chat agree with this sentiment? I have no clue what he's talking about. It's bad, but it's good when placed. Like, if he was talking about the subscription services themselves and like, oh, PlayStation Plus is more sustainable than Game Pass, that's an argument that he's making a pretty good case for. But saying that, like, I don't get it. I don't know what he's talking about. That's how monopolies are created. Sell at a loss until there are no competition, then increase prices. Neil, I don't know if you've been reading the news about how Xbox is doing, but they're not doing great. They do have 500 million monthly active users, though, and 3 million players have played Doom. But I don't think PlayStation's in any danger of Game Pass taking it over anytime soon. I hear you, and I get the comment, but that's just not the reality of what's happening. That case you're making, you know who has the worst model for game distribution out of all of the companies? Nintendo. You literally need to subscribe to a service to be able to play old Nintendo games on the Switch. It's BS. I think it is the worst example out of all of these. So you want to talk about somebody I don't think is doing it well? Nintendo stinks. I refuse to subscribe to Nintendo's thing because of I'll just play the games that I own or dig out my Wii U where I bought all those games and left them there. So I think both PlayStation and Xbox have a great thing going with both PlayStation Plus and Xbox Game Pass. I've come around on PlayStation Plus. I think when they brought Now and folded it into PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now folded into one and sort of became a service, I like it. I think Nintendo is reprehensible with how they handle needing a subscription to play like Mega Man X or whatever they have on there. It's terrible. I think it's terrible. I want to read his quote in full context. Agreed, and Nintendo can charge whatever they want. A major corporation with no debt is wild. Yeah. So I don't agree that what Xbox is doing is bad, but yeah. Let me see. Game Pass. That's really dangerous. That's the part I want to find. Because this has been making the way. Oh, it's right there. There's no additional context. I don't know what he's talking about. What you just said applies to PlayStation as well. You can't play PS3 and PS4 games on your PS5 unless you have PlayStation Plus and stream them. That's not true, Christopher. It's true in part for PlayStation 3 and 2 games. You need the subscription unless they've been like remade. PlayStation 4 games, you can just play them. You don't need the subscription. Like you can pop in your disc or you can launch the PS4 version of a lot of games as far as I know. Here's what he said. If the only way... Let's read the full thing. Speaking to game developer at Gamescom LATAM, the industry veteran explained subscription services are great if you're allowed inside the walled garden. The concern, he suggests, is that as they inevitably expand on a bedrock of first-party titles, it will become harder for third-party studios and indies to cross that divide. If the only way for people to play games is through subscriptions, that's really dangerous because what type of games can be created will be dictated by the owner of the subscription services, he says. That's really, really risky because there must always be fresh new ideas tried by small developers that create the next wave of development. But if the big companies dictate what games can be created, I don't think that will advance the industry. He likes Sony more. He's not even talking about Game Pass. He's just talking about any subscription service. He thinks the way Sony... this part doesn't make any sense to me. I believe that the way Sony approached subscriptions is healthier, not to overpromise and to allow people to spend money to buy the new games. You can do that on Xbox, he added. After a couple of years, there won't be many people willing to buy those games at the initial price. So they'll be added to the subscription service, and there'll be more people to try those products in time for the next game in the franchise to come out. Although he feels Microsoft might have made an initial misstep with that day one pledge, Yoshida said the company has excelled in other areas. He described Microsoft's approach to backwards compatibility, which saw the company make it possible for the Xbox Series X and S owners to play thousands of original Xbox 360, and Xbox One titles as smart and very well planned. They must have put a lot of engineering effort in to achieve what they have done, he continued. Pretty good interview. I mean, yeah, let's just finish it out, I guess. Microsoft wasn't the only company to receive plaudits during our chat. Yoshida also took time to praise Nintendo for slapping 2 controllers on the Switch and Switch 2 to enable multiplayer functionality straight out of the box. That's so smart, he said. It's in their DNA to cater to the needs of family and friends. You can hear more from Yoshida, such as how he believes stupid money crippled the industry during the COVID-19 pandemic, by clicking here. So they must have a full interview on their site or something. I'll have to give this a watch another time. Oh, they did an interview, but they broke it into multiple articles. Okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Game Pass model. Like, if that's how Xbox wants to do it, sure. I think the bigger danger is the video game industry is currently on the Titanic, and they're getting off the Titanic and building up an iceberg in the form of microtransactions, battle passes, and all of these additional income streams that they feel like they need to have. And they're going to crash into it. And then there's pundits like myself that are on the sidelines saying, hey, you need to stop doing that or you're going to collapse. You're going to crash into that problem, which fans don't like, by the way. Fans, I don't think they like microtransactions and loot boxes and battle passes and all of these additional revenue methodologies that need to be shoehorned into every game. And I think the industry is one day going to see a legislation pass. The UK is talking about such legislation, by the way, where they're just not going to be allowed to do stuff like that anymore. And then tens of thousands of employees are just going to be put out of work. So he's talking about a subscription model. I think that's sort of so-so. I think there's way bigger problems that they need to think about. It's getting close to the time where I got to go make dinner for the family. So let's get through these last few real quick. Daniel? Daniel? Do you need Dad? Daniel? One sec. I don't know what he's doing. Daniel, I'll be out in a sec. Okay, bud? All right. So we got 3 more stories to get through. Real quick, rapid fire. All PlayStation Days of Play 2025 discounts revealed, Europe discounts included. If you ever were thinking about getting a PlayStation 5 Pro or a PlayStation, buy it right now. Buy a PlayStation right now. You are not going to see another sale on PlayStations in the near future. I highly recommend this. When this was announced, even though it was Tom, even though it was Insider Gaming, even though it was all these people who I think are usually on the money when it comes to things like this, I didn't believe it because we literally just watched a Q3 earnings report where they're talking about maybe we're going to have to start making PlayStation 5s in the US. We stockpiled a 3-month supply just so we were ready for the demand during the tariff situation. We might have to raise the prices of our console. I'm like, there is no way that they're going to do this $50 discount. And they did. Now, granted, a lot of people like it's a little bit of a sour note because in the past they had already raised the price of the console, especially in Europe. And then, this happened. So yeah. But anyway, if you're looking to get a PlayStation 5, hardware discounts, there's a bunch of hardware discounts like the VR2 console, $50 off. So basically $50 off of everything. Daniel, what do you need, sweetie? Daniel. I might have to go, y'all. I don't know what he's doing. He's just sitting at the door saying my name. Randomly, though. Not like consistently. Daniel. 1 second. I'm going to be back in like 10 seconds. I just want to see what he needs. Where's my... Oh, there's my seats. Be right back. What you doing, buddy? Bye. Can I have a 5? Give me a bam. Bam! I love you, sweet. We're right on. One more? Oh, right here. Hey, I'll get you when I'm out, okay? All right. So I just had 2 more stories that I want to cover off on. My kid wants to play, so I think I'm going to go wrestle monster my kids. Cyberpunk 2077 sequel release is at least 4 to 5 years away. Great. I am excited to play more Cyberpunk. I commented on this story and someone's like, you didn't even play the game. I have 182 hours in Cyberpunk on GOG. I couldn't finish all of the trophies or achievements or whatever on GOG because it was glitched, and I still can't because my saves are messed up. But yeah. Sounds great. Apparently they're in pre-production. I still haven't played Phantom Liberty, so I need to play that one, but yeah. And then I wanted to talk about this one. This is going to be my closer for the day. I wanted to make a proper video about Mind's Eye. Now, there were a bunch of previews that came out for Mind's Eye, and stories like this one. Mind's Eye developer CEO says people were paid to be negative towards the game. Now, I didn't reveal this, but I was given the preview of Mind's Eye. I was going to talk a little bit about the game at some point once I was able to collect my thoughts and discuss it, but I think the game looks kind of boring. And no, nobody paid me to say that. I wasn't approached by anybody to talk. I was approached to be given this Mind's Eye preview. And I think the core premise of the game isn't gripping enough to really get me invested in the world they're trying to build. And my overall impression was this looks like a mod for Cyberpunk, but with fewer characters in the world. The open world just looked a little barren. So I don't really know, like, what do they think is going on here? Because now this has caused people like Luke Smith to start diving into Mind's Eye. And you know what he finds? The company has a whole bunch of negative reviews on Glassdoor from former employees who were unhappy about working there. So like, you had people come out who were just like, yeah, I don't know about Mind's Eye. I'm not sure how it's doing. Destin's impression, and I didn't really watch a lot of the impressions, but I know a lot of them were sort of middling. I think some of the dialogue and facial animation stuff was looking pretty good. Obviously, it was an early look, but yeah, it looks like GTA meets Cyberpunk, but meh. Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it or anything like that, but that's sort of where I landed with it. I just thought it was like, whatever. Build a Rocket Boy co-CEO Mark Gerard believes that everyone saying negative things about the studio's upcoming game Mind's Eye are being paid to do so. I said some negative things, but I'm not being paid to do so. I would have to disclose if I was paid to say something negative about Mind's Eye. I wouldn't do that, first of all. Like, that's not happening. In messages posted on the game's Discord server, thanks to Eurogamer for spotting it, Gerard was asked if he thought all the people who reacted negatively were financed by someone. To that, he simply said 100%. He then doubled down when someone in the server questioned his claims with an answer of "not wild when it's true," while also saying that it doesn't take much to guess who. With the server seeing questions and concerns about the claim, Gerard posted a longer message on the matter. I just said that there is a concerted effort by some people that don't want to see Leslie or Build a Rocket Boy to be successful, that are making a concerted effort to trash the game and the studio, he said. It's pretty easy to see the bots and the repeated replies to any content that we put out. So he's talking about like, no. I think that's weird. Like, he thinks that they're botting his posts about Mind's Eye. I don't think that's happening. No, that's absolutely not happening. Gerard didn't give any more context as to what the company he believes is paying for the negative comments and previews of the game. With the game's director being former Rockstar North president Leslie Benzies, it appears as though Gerard is insinuating that Rockstar is behind it all. Again, however, that wasn't explicitly said in the messages. As far as what some of those negative responses to the game, Potato put together a list of some of the most common. That includes claims of the game being full of bugs, driving feeling stiff, and a general feeling that the game should be delayed. I would agree with that. I think the open world looks a little bland. I think like there's interesting parts, but it didn't look like where it needs to be. Mind's Eye is currently scheduled to release on June 10th. Oh my goodness. Let's look at the official
Rated
trailer.
M for mature.
Introducing Mind's Eye. Your story takes place in the city of Red Rock.
Like, come on. You could just look. Like, look at how blurry it looks. Like, it's
a desert metropolis where corporate greed and political ambition are in.
This is the official asset. This is the official asset released on YouTube. Like, it's all compressed.
Step into the lead role in a conspiracy involving criminal forces, an unchecked military, and a threat so sinister.
Yeah, see, I think some of the character stuff looks good.
It endangers the survival of humanity. You have expert skills, making you extremely valuable to some, but highly dangerous to others.
You find Diaz yet? No, still out there.
Yeah, see, some of the character stuff looks good. I mean, I'll just give my 2 cents on it. I think Mind's Eye looks fine. Maybe I'll do something more fleshed out about my thoughts on the preview that I was given. I do greatly appreciate the preview, but I sort of agree with that sentiment. I didn't think it looked ready for launch. And June 10th, it's like right there. It just seems a little too fast to leave this company that you've been at forever and then launch this game. And yeah, so that's it. I can't believe they did this was the title of the stream, and it seemed to work. Thank you so much to everybody who watched. I do greatly appreciate it. Let's check all the platforms real quick. We still have 200 people watching over on YouTube. YouTube.com/@DestinL. That's DestinL. if you want to check me out on YouTube. That's my main platform. We have 2,154 people watching on X. Thank you. I was wondering why my X revenue was up, and apparently it's because a lot of people like watching me on X. So thank you so much. Got a lot going on next week. Like I said, going to be a busy time. If you want to check me out on kick.com/Destin Legary. Thank you, American Ninja, for holding it down over there. Of course, Facebook.com/Destin on Facebook is the platform I'm trying to build up. Thank you for watching there. Phil Roney told all the truckers, and Twitch.tv/Destin is my other platform. Let's do the outro in case I end up botting this out for the week. If you see clips from the stream, I think I am going to start using that, where like that's what all the big streamers do. They do a longer stream and then they VOD out the content and you're able to watch it. But they have editors and stuff. I don't have any of that. It's just Destin still. But anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell if you want to know when my content goes live. I greatly appreciate everybody who watched today. Thank you for all the viewership. It's been great. If you want to support at a higher level, you can do so over at patreon.com/SaveStatePlus or right here on YouTube by becoming a member. Of course, you could always just subscribe, watch content, hit that like button if you like it by doing that whole thing. If you want to see my latest video, I talked about the Xbox handheld and its own piece of content, and it sounds like it's being delayed. So check that out. I'm going to get out of here. I'll see you for the next one. Bye for everybody. But I almost nailed it. Bye for now, everybody. Have a great day.